Hello YouTube family, James Green, short series Shenanigans. So this is the next installment, although it's been a while, of the power drawbar series adapter. So if you've watched the other videos, okay, it's been a while, and the reason is I've been waiting on my welder to get back from warranty. There were some issues, so I had to send it off to Everlast. It's going to be back in a couple of days. They've repaired it. We'll see, but I do need to move forward. So the reason is I was waiting on the welder, so I'm gonna have to weld some aluminum stuff on here, and I want to do it all on camera. But so for those of you that haven't seen, just to kind of bring you up to speed, we're going to be installing a power drawbar. Now this is a 1967 Series 1 Bridgeport. Okay, it has the belt change pulleys, which this is the aluminum housing. So this is the top, this is the drawbar. Okay, now there's going to be a different drawbar that goes in here, but the height, because it's a different style up here, but the height is the same. Now it hits the ceiling here, which is fine, because I'm going to retrim and do all that and whatever, because I have that extension in here. My drawbar no longer you know, I'm not going to put a hole up there, but I will have to retrim. So we're going to lay out and mark. Another reason I stopped is I had to make some T-nuts for some holding clamps. I'm going to show those in the video. So this is what the top looks like. What I had was a piece of aluminum that I've bored out. I showed a lot of this on social media and other videos. What we've got to do now, because what I want to do is we have to come up here and mark. We're just going to take a Sharpie, and this is the brake. Okay, it pushes either way, and that's what stops the mill from running. Then you've got front, like right now it's in front gear and back gear. So we're going to make a slot so this can still articulate. So what we're going to do is we'll just pull this out real quick so it's out of the way. There's going to be some there's going to be a lot of milling going on, and I'll explain. So I'm going to show you guys, if you've never seen the top, it's not actually flat up here either, and it's kind of a hard. I've got the camera setting on my mill table on the left hand side, so you guys are actually looking at the mill from the left hand side top. So let me point out a few things here real quick. I'll just set that there. So there next to the brake here, and it's kind of hard to see from this view, and I don't want to move the camera, there's a little ridge here that's I'm not sure, it looks like it might have been repaired one time or a cast mark. I'm not sure, but it's a little raised area, and we're going to have to, matter of fact, let me get a depth mic. It's nothing super critical, but we might as well get a alright, I'll just grab an analog digital mic here. So because there's a little area here that's a couple inches long, so we're just going to get a rough estimate of how much that is. About 62 thousandths. Okay, so there's the camera. We're about 62 thousandths. It's a little ridge here, so it'll definitely go higher than that. Then we've also got the 3 bolt holes, and those you can see the nuts here and the bolts that hold the bearing and brake. It actually holds the brake assembly up into the housing in the top, so we're going to have to notch around those. Again, this is something totally new, my own design. I've seen guys do with standoffs. My idea was, because I had this, is make it one solid piece, make it rigid. So basically we're just going to pull out our Sharpie, and this just fits over everything. So what we're going to do, let's mark and you can do this in steps before you start marking everything at once. So we know that this isn't going to move. Let's go ahead and mark, because this has to rotate a little bit, so we'll just call this the center. Okay, and we'll give it plenty of room. We'll just slide it to the side and know that it has to move. What would be the furthest it has to move would be there, and then rotate it the other way. The furthest it would have to move about the same distance. So I've just made 3 marks, which is the center, and then as much as that moves each way. And so we'll get our 6-inch ruler here. We're going to keep this very simple. We're going to have lots of room. We're not trying to make things super tight, snug. I want room so whenever this goes on, because what I'm going to do is we're going to mill out all these slots for everything to sit flush on here. And then what I'm going to actually do is, because this is aluminum, I'm going to weld some tabs on here that I'm going to make sure it doesn't interfere with any of the function of the brake or front gear, back gear. I would like to put 4 tabs, and I'm going to weld those on, drill through, and then we're going to drill and tap into this housing. Now I've got about that much room underneath the casting. The casting is approximately 3/8 of an inch thick. Well, actually, let's see. Let me measure it here. Yeah, it's 3/8. And that's just measuring the thickness on the casting here when I drop a door down. So we've got plenty of room. Plus we want to make sure if we do come through, 3/8 should be good enough. We're not going to, you know, again, it should be fine. So let's see, this area here that we cut, or we're going to cut, is approximately 1 3/4 inches. And then the height to add the other, let's say we clear, if we go 1.5 inches, no, 1 1/4 inches will clear. So 1 1/4 inches, we're just going to come up, and this is just going to be a big giant cutout is all that's going to be. Okay, and that includes this little area for that. But now we were talking about we actually have to come over a little bit further down here for that little raised area, and then it also has to come over, and I'm just going to come all the way around. Actually, I'm going to come up over here because I've got a bolt hole over here. So I'm just going to take it out all the way to right there. And the same thing, we're just going to mark out these where they're generally going to be at. And then we have that one. I'd rather mill out a little extra on side to side. That way, if I need to rotate a little bit, we'll do it all at once. So we've got our 3 bolt holes or nuts here that come up through. So we're going to mill this stuff out. Let me go ahead and drop you guys. Oh, almost forgot. I was looking at the handle. So I was sitting here, thought I was done. So we've got the front gear, back gear assembly. So we're currently in front gear, so that even means more milling out for a slot. So let's go. Now, this that I'm doing, I haven't seen anybody do another style like this, so literally I'm making this up as I go. So let's make sure we're... So if we stick the 1.25 inches, we're good to go. So if we stay the full 1.25 inches, we're clear of this, we're clear of this. That's not going to interfere any. So we know we're going to go from the edge up, which that's already going to get cut out anyway. And there's the full 1.25 inches. Now, what we need to do is put this back in, throw it over into back gear, and see how far our travel is. Again, I'm trying to describe this because we're going to go all the way over to there. Again, we used our centering mark. We've still got, so we center, I use that term loosely for that. We'll come over here, we have plenty of room, farthest travel, and so we still come up the 1.25 inches from the bottom. So that will get us a full clearing everything. All right. Lots of open area there. So that will allow us to be creative, and we're going to see it all milled out. Again, we'll go ahead, we'll move you down and we'll start doing the setup right now on this video. Let me readjust the camera a little bit, guys. It's going to wiggle, but I'll get you set up here. Alright. Drop the legs down. Again, it would be nice if I had a production crew, but I don't. So bear with me. You guys get a view of the garage while I'm flipping the camera around. Okay. I'm going to set you there. Back you up. Make sure you got... Oh. Set you back just a little further. Alright, we're going to do the setup here. Move this up out of the way. Get the light on. So yeah, you can see how far I had the table slid over to the left. Move this out of the way. Alright. I love these things. Those are very, very handy to have. Alright, now, I got through doing cleanup the other day from doing some stuff. So, I had to create, because I didn't have all of what I needed. Okay? And I say the other day, it's been literally a month or two. So, because I had some of these clamps that are, they're the Mighty Bite clamps. Okay, now I had a bunch of the brass piece on the top, but I didn't have the T-nut with the jacking nut. So I actually had to make up a bunch of them, and while I was at it, I had a bunch of them. The reason is, on this, clamping, in my opinion, if I was to just clamp down here on the top and milling, I was still afraid about this sliding over out of the way. So we definitely want to have these down in here to help, not only because we're going to have a T-nut here in the middle, that should work. Yep. Right. Make sure everything is good to go. All right. So I know I'm going to have to move this around a couple times. We'll actually slide it over a little bit. So this is where these come in handy. Now these things are not cheap. Yeah, they have other brand names that you can get at Shars that work great. But I happen to have the top pieces, and I didn't have the T-nuts, so I spent a few days making a bunch of them. And they're still kind of, even the factory ones are still kind of fun to put in at times. Alright. One that's not wanting to slide. Figure it out. I think it's 5:30 seconds. Yep. That's what it was. That was old. Now before we get carried away, we got to slide these in here. And see, even the factory ones, it's hard to get them to fit down in. We need to, you know what? I'm going to use these others that I made. I have a whole drawer full of them. There we go. There. Because I want to grind on those. They're a little tight fitting on the back ones. Go ahead and slide these in that I made. some gunk down in the keyway if it doesn't want to slide. Gotta love it. Alright, this one should slide a little easier. Yeah, everything's clear. Okay. Jump in the keyway. Let's pull out our little metal shavings. And I just clean and clean and clean, but you get some of that residue up in there. And I made these T-nuts really tight, which may be part of the problem. You try to make that stuff too accurate instead of it being loose like it should be. So first off, let's go ahead and get the top tightened down. Try to make sure you got, okay, you got enough time. Alright, basically what we're going to do here, I would like to take, yep, it's going to work. For the most part, because we're going to do a lot of machining on this over here on this side. So literally, my concern was having it just clamped here, things would still try to move them, so that's why we have these other clamps in place. That was my concern. Tighten the jacking, because they have a little set screw that keeps the T-nut from sliding. Oh, get that down in there. We'll get them all in place where they will work where you want. There we go. Let's try that. Going to work or not. Nope. I will say one thing. I've learned a lot working with these Mighty Bite clamps. When you're working at odd angles, it takes a little of fussing around to get them in the right areas so that they will actually bite or lock in. There we go. Still being able to have room to get in with your Allen wrench, because that's the trick, is getting in there with the Allen. You'll see when I do this side. What it is I made these T-nuts almost too short because I got carried away trying to make things too precise. So I may have to go back and remake these at some point, but I can get them in there. So note to self, or if you go to make some of these T-nuts for these, make sure you make them a little longer than what I did, because you run into the problem what I'm having now is getting that wrench down in, because it's interfering with the little brass lock nut here. That was purely on me and my, you get carried away with trying to make things fit too precise and you create problems like this. You leave yourself some, again, I just made these up and it was like, you look back now, so if you guys make them, make sure you make them longer. Where is that, Alan? It's right in front of me. Is that in there? Nope. See, this is the crux of the deal, is I can't get that how I want it exactly. That's in. It's actually in. Gotta love it. What are we? We're 3/16. Let me try something else here that I bet I can get in there. So you have more than one Allen wrench type thing here. .3/16. Correct. 5/32. I don't know why I said 3/16. Or is it? Yeah, it's 3/16. Okay, it fits. There we go. Alright. Grab an Allen wrench. Or not an Allen wrench, grab a ratchet wrench. Handy. Sometimes that's why you gotta have different tools. Alright. Check them all here. Oh yeah, that fits in. It's a tight fit. Alright, so these will drive away. Put that down. And then the fun begins. I may have to adjust this. Yeah. Live and unedited. So we got to move these in just a little bit, because as it cams over, it's not locking up against. There we go. Yeah. If I can't get this to lock right, I'm going to have to grind a little off those others. But this is how you learn. Yeah, that's not going to. It's not going to get in there the way that I want it to. But you know me. I am not easily deterred in trying to get something to work. That's what's fun about it. That's what's fun about metalworking. There we go. All right. There we go. Just had to hold our mouth just right, see if it'll work. Okay, there we go. Now I've got it on a point, and the idea is just to block it all the way around at the bottom so that things don't slide. Let me bring you up here real quick and show you what I got going on so you guys can see. Alright. I know I didn't get as much completed in this video that I wanted to, but you guys know me and how I do things. So the idea behind this is we're going to lock this down at the base here to keep it so when we're milling up here at the top, we don't have, so we're clamped down here and at the bottom so we don't slide around. Alright. That's what the goal is. I'm trying to get all these. Tell you what, I'll go ahead and get all those locked in. Off camera. Get that backed up a little bit there. I'll get those locked in off camera. But we're moving forward with the build. We're going to set up. I'll have the tooling set up and we'll start milling on it. We'll start moving forward. So this is going to be it's a Bridgeport power drawbar. Literally, that's the brand name of it. This is what we're going to be putting in. don't know if the camera will show it in there, but it actually has a star shaped or a torque headed shaped drawbar. Chicago pneumatic, the real deal. We've already tested it out. Of course, it's been a while, you know. We're going to mount this. It's actually going to mount up right next to there. We've got the holes in. We'll do all that when we're done. And so there we go. That's what we're trying to mount up for this whole deal. I know a lot of you have been interested and want to know further, but my welder that normally sits there should be here this next week. So we're going to go ahead and continue on. Guys, I know the summer bash is going to be coming up soon. The date, it hasn't been released yet, and I know things are starting to get ready this summer. I don't know exactly when yet, but start, if you want to go, start getting yourself ready. Going to be having fun. Looking forward to seeing our buddy Adam Booth out there. All Industrial Tool Supply, my channel sponsor, you guys. Thank you. They've got a lot of neat stuff. Any of the tooling you're interested in that I use, they sell this. They sell the Mighty Bite clamps. They sell all Mighty Bite products. Give them a call. Talk to Jim Henry or Jeff Perry. So we'll continue on in the next video. Let me get this locked down and we'll continue on, because I want to show you guys this project in its entirety, everything I do. So if you choose to make it just like I did out of a solid chunk, there will be very little question of how did you do this or how did you do that. And you guys know I don't edit my videos. It's just the way I like doing it. There, it's done, it's up. But the mundane stuff, you know, and I've got another neat project here on the floor, and I'll talk about that first in the next video. Like I always say, guys and gals, and trust me, I truly do mean it. Take care of yourself most of all first, then take care of your family. Because at the end of the day, you and your family's all you got. Until next episode. Get out in the garage. Maybe get you a chunk of aluminum, start milling on it. This stuff's fun. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.